Hello and welcome today to our next episode of Workplace Wellbeing Essentials. In this conversation, I'm joined today by Randy Anderson. Randy inspires others to live more productive and fulfilling lives through the work he does as a trainer, coach, and speaker. And I'm really excited to have Randy here today. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here too and appreciate the invitation. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So Randy, when we're working with our clients and their employees, the number one reason or barrier that employees cite for participating or not participating in worksite wellness programs that are provided by their employers is time. We always hear this issue of, I don't have time, I'm running out of time. You know, time just, is such a big issue for everyone.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many people say, I wish I had time to fill in the blank, whether that is exercise, meditate, more family time, whatever it may be.
Right.
And increasingly, we are learning about workplace cultures where employees don't feel like they have time to take breaks during the day or that they lunch alone at their desks. So given your experience and the work you do with your clients, Randy, tell us a little bit about this time dilemma that we all have.
Well, I wish I could say to somebody it's going to get better, but I have yet to find anyone at any station in life who says, oh, once you get past this certain thing and suddenly you have so much time you just can't fill it. Time is like our money. We're going to use it all, and whether we use it wisely or not, it's going away. I talk about time as a perishable commodity and a non-renewable resource. It's going away all the time, and once it's gone, it's gone. You can never get it back. So the dilemma is we keep thinking there's going to be some magic moment when suddenly we have more time, when in reality we have to come to the realization I have to make time for those things that are most important. I think Stephen Covey, the late Stephen Covey, made a great point when he said you have to quit trying to schedule your priorities, and you want to prioritize your schedule. When we look at it and think, well, on the days when I have time to work out, or on the days when I have time for quiet time, or on the days when I have time to read something, you have to make it a part of each day. You're never going to just have time for it.
So are there particular techniques that you suggest in your work with your clients that help them with this prioritization?
Yeah, the main one I would say, and I know it's hard. It's like eating, right? To say, willpower, self-discipline. But I think if we take the time to make a plan, we're more likely to abide by the plan or to subscribe to our own plan. And so one of the big things that I teach is an approach or a philosophy or a mechanism, whatever you want to call it, that I call time budgeting. And some people will have heard of that. Normally when I ask an audience, about 10% to maybe 20% will raise their hand and say they've heard of it. Usually less than 10% say that they actually do it. But it's the same mindset as money. You allocate certain amounts of money to certain things, whether it be the grocery store or gas or vehicle car payment or insurance or whatever it may be. Well, we should allocate time to certain parts of our certain priorities within our schedule, certain parts of our life. Is your family important enough to say I'm going to allocate 10% of every week to them? And that sounds like a lot, but really by the minute or by the hour, if you divide it by 7, that is not that much. And yet as we look back at the end of our life, we're going to wish we had given that more time. What happens is the urgent takes over. Whoever's yelling loudest, whoever sends the most emails, leaves the most voicemails, signs my performance appraisal or my paycheck, and we prioritize them in front of other people that really may be more important to us long term, but don't have the urgency that person does. So if we will allocate time based on various areas of our life and we give it a priority of, and what I refer to it as non-negotiable or negotiable and changeable or unchangeable. Do I absolutely have to do it? Most of us have to show up for work every day at a certain time. So that's the non-negotiable, negotiable part. And can I fix the time? If it's a team meeting that I'm a part of every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, I can't change the time. My boss has set that time for me. But if it's working out, well, I can do that at 6 in the morning, or I can do that during my lunch hour, I can do that right after work, or I can do that after my kids go to bed. Now, for me, if I don't do it before my kids get up, I typically won't do it. So it's just a matter of putting those into those certain compartments and then making sure the compartments are in the right priority order.
So it sounds like we have to work a little bit at really setting some boundaries as well, and being willing to a certain extent, negotiate some of those boundaries. Right?
Yeah, I heard a guy say one time, one of the most profound, simplistic things I've ever heard. He said, "You may have to decide what won't get done." Yeah. And I thought, what a great approach to bring. But you say boundaries, and one of the examples I use in my time management seminar is, what's the difference in a river and a swamp? A river has boundaries. A swamp just goes wherever. And yet one brings commerce, one brings recreation, one brings travel, the other brings mosquitoes and people who we don't necessarily want to stumble across in the middle of the woods by ourselves. Boundaries are not bad, but the discipline takes some getting used to.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So any tips from for individuals who are managing, for managers in the workplace, or any particular tips you might have?
As far as for their team, to help their team members?
Exactly.
So, when I was managing a team before I started doing training, and now we have a very, very small organization, there's just 2 of us, but I had 57 people, and whether they were in data entry, whether they were in engineering, whether they were creative, or whether they were in sales, I wanted to encourage them in this mindset, whether they were at home or at work, because what I knew was the more they did this, the more productive they became. And the more they took care of themselves, the more they exercised, the more that they exercised their brain, the more that they had positive relationships in their life, the more that they took time to do things in the community, the more time that they took for downtime, as far as whether it be rest or recuperation. I knew that they would be a more contributing, higher productivity employee. So I fostered that idea. What we really battle sometimes is if somebody is not operating at an optimal level, not producing enough quantifiable work, we tend to want to push them for more hours or beat on them harder. And I laughingly refer to the pinata style of leadership. Surely if I beat these people hard enough, something good will come out of them. Not necessarily. And we keep pushing and pushing and pushing, asking more and more and more. What we're doing is taking time away from their sleep, taking time away from their recuperation, taking time away from working out, taking time away from their loved ones. And so that it just begins to be so oppressive that they're not as productive as they would be if we were to encourage them to gain more balance in life.
Well, Randy, I wish there were more managers like you who really understand that when we first look after our own well-being, that we can be better in every aspect of our lives.
That is the key ingredient. If people are messed up in their personal life, they're going to be messed up at work. And more tasks and more technical training is going to go in one ear and out the other. But if they can get their personal life fixed, they will become a better employee.
Yeah, well, that's great. Good. Well, Randy, thank you for these insightful comments, for helping shed a little bit light on how prioritization and having a plan can really help individuals and organizations deal with the time issue that seems to be following all of us around. So thanks, Randy. Appreciate your time.
Could I make an offer to them that if they go to my website, which is E3 Professional Trainers, E3professionaltrainers.com, there are some time management tools on there that they can use immediately that will help them and help their team members.
Wonderful. We'll make sure we note that website right on the screen so that we make sure everybody has access to that. So, Randy, thanks again. Love having you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it very much.